Yeah, macro is we are seeing things that we have never seen before. So we are in uncharted territory. Well, in Europe, the negative interest rate. In the US, the interest rates, the 10 years are going through the roof right now. Inflation, of course, there were some large investors that traded with options and futures and lost, like billionaire investors, billion-dollar positions. They lost.
Plan B. Secrets of the current crypto market. If Sherlock Holmes ever decided to solve a mystery within the crypto community, his first one might be the curious case of Plan B and the $100,000 Christmas of 2021 that never came. Now, as the first quarter of 2022 slowly comes to a close, let's check on the pseudonymous creator's response to the multiple missed shots with his very own stock-to-flow model and his view of the current crypto market. Keep watching. Plan B's reaction, stock-to-flow model failure. Plan B gone? The long and short of it is that if you believe in the S2F model still, the $100,000 Bitcoin deadline has been pushed back by around 2 years. Plan B's S2F analysis showed that Bitcoin's price is still in the lowest band of the S2F model. This is a worrying sign for many investors who want a straight run to the finish line. However, models are rarely so simple that it's clear that there's a lot of wiggle room for BTC where S2F is involved. Also, Plan B has had his fair share of misses with his S2F model. Let's see how he's taking these failures.
Well, the whole market, of course, went down. We didn't reach the 100K targets that talking about on Twitter, and the stock flow model, of course, predicts. So I have experienced that a couple of times now. It's the third time, actually, because it always goes in waves. And when the price is high, then you're hot. You're the man, the myth, the legend. And when the price is low, then you're the planned bullshit, the scammer, and what have you. Kind of get used to it. Like most Bitcoiners, the price is not very exciting. They go do other stuff. Those are actually the most productive periods. So for me, I traveled a lot actually to other countries that I could go to. So I talked to a lot of people. I took some time off Twitter. You might have noticed that in those periods, tweets are kind of general and not very specific and based on real-time analysis. But it was kind of a holiday, kind of meeting people face to face that I have met a lot through Zoom, and a lot of business opportunities.
Decentralization changing the world.
I agree, and these are very, very interesting times. And in my latest article, it's already 2 years old again, but I talk about these phases, right? Phase 5 is actually the phase we're in right now. And we didn't know at the time what the new phase would look like, and that it could be ugly. That was a chance, of course, but we're seeing around us with war now in the Ukraine, with Russia, we have had with COVID, all the decentralization, things happening in China right now, Australia. There seems to be no country things are normal or like 2 or 3 years ago. Everything is changing, and whether you look from a geopolitical or financial investor point of view, it doesn't matter. Everything changes. So I think we're kind of get a big picture of what quote unquote phase 5 is going to look like, but it will be the battle between centrally run companies and countries and the peer-to-peer or decentralized organized products and companies and maybe countries.
The narrative of Bitcoin.
How do you think through? Do you think price is just narrative and narrative will just attach to whatever price act telling you? Kind of, how do you guys think through just the idea of narratives for BTC?
I mean, narratives is nice. It's for newspapers, for marketing stuff, and there are some deeper trends, some deeper things going on. And it's, well, like Willie said, it's of course technological. It is the better money. So like the internet, if you want it or not, it will be the thermodynamically better thing. It will win in the end. The earth is round, not flat. Been a narrative around it that it's flat. It doesn't matter. Maybe delays it a couple of years, but it will win. And also financially, it is an asset. It is an accepted asset, more so than a couple of years ago. And markets are maturing. Yeah, cash and carry trade that we talked about a lot last year almost completely disappeared, which is normal, which is a sign of maturing markets. A contango premium of 40, 50, even 60% is can't go forever. So in my worldview as an investor, ex-institutional investor, it's all about arbitrage. And in the beginning, of course, there was arbitrage in Bitcoin only with exchanges in Korea and exchanges in Europe and the US, and then catching the differences. It was an easy way to make money.
Is the Bitcoin options market growing?
Yeah, it's the next market that will be next derivatives market that after the futures market has fully matured will be explored and grown into a full functioning option market. And it's not very mature at the moment. For example, if you look at the prices of daily bit, it's the biggest option market. It's very obvious that the trade trading of the in the money options is not really happening. So it's all out of the money options. People that think that Bitcoin goes to 100,000 or 200,000 tomorrow, and basically betting. It's like betting. It's a form of leverage without the downside, which is the worst way of playing the option market. You don't do directional bets with option. You do directional bets with futures, and option markets are for volatility. So you sell the volatility when it's high and you buy it when it's low. That's how you ought to do it. But yeah, so I guess that will mature, and that will indeed 10x or even more. There is, of course, big difference with the gold market, so several other markets. That is that the underlying, the collateral, the Bitcoin in this case, is very easy to transfer and to verify that it's actually there. And that's not so with gold. So gold is held at I think it's the London Bullion Bank, and then everybody has to trust that bank that the gold is really there. And you can ask for physical delivery, but when things get rough, like right now with all the inflation, and I don't know if you follow the commodity market a little bit, but what happened over the last 1 or 2 months is really amazing. And it's fraud actually on epic proportions, because there were some large investors that traded with options and futures and lost, like billionaire investors, $billion positions. They lost, but then the trades were canceled.
Macro and BTC correlation with tech stocks.
We had this going on, actually, there's some nice stats and charts about it. Since Biden, for example, got into office, was elected. And even before that, the money printing that we have seen since 2008, basically, the acceleration of money printing since the financial crisis, would have led to inflation regardless of what happened after it. So, of course, they will blame it on Putin or COVID or whatever.
Transitory, it's corporate greed, there's something every month, different flavor every month.
Whatever political narrative you want to attach to it. But in the end, we as investors, and especially Bitcoin investors, of course, know and have to keep the eyes on the price. It's because of the money printing. And that's where the scary part is as well. So the big question now is, will the central banks and the governments get things under control by raising the interest rate? That's how they normally do it. And stop money printing? Well, of course not. I don't see them doing that, because that will crash everything. Value, real estate, the stock market, bond markets, everything.
How futures predict price.
We're looking at on-chain and futures data. So the big story, of course, was futures data last couple of months, maybe a year. And so the diminishing of futures spread and the movement of the futures spread was very, predictive of the price, and especially the difference in how fast that went. For example, in different other coins as well. So there's also futures on other coins than Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. And they move in different cadence. So the pattern between futures premiums on the different coins.
Where the crypto market is right now. Today, there are 18,142 cryptocurrencies, 460 crypto exchanges, and the market cap of cryptocurrencies amounts to $1.7 trillion. Every 24 hours, $91 billion worth of cryptos are traded, most of them Bitcoin or Ethereum. Given the size of the industry and the impending regulatory push, it is worth now taking stock of the current state of regulation. In doing so, it will become clear that a globally coordinated approach to regulation may be necessary. But, in the grand scheme of things, how is PlanB seeing the current crypto market and where it's headed? Let's find out.
Yeah, all these signals, whether you look fundamental, and I mean, like stock to flow, for example, with that, or on-chain, realized cap, or other metrics, or in the news, the macro news, the number of countries that are opening up to Bitcoin, everything is positive. Of course, there can be a black swan. Of course, something we haven't seen in the past, a real black swan. But yeah, volatility is low. The futures premium is low. I watch that like a hawk. If the leverage will enter the market again.
With that, we come to the end of this video. Consider subscribing to join in on our future content.